So therefore, this ancient Indian knowledge I consider very relevant to today's world.
Nestled in the hilltops of the Dhauladhar mountain range in Dharamshala, India, a small pocket of Tibetan Buddhism thrives. This is McLeodganj. It is home to His Holiness Dalai Lama and government of exiled Tibetans. It is in this melting pot where the purest form of Tibetan Buddhism exists.
People make it difficult to explain Buddhism, something like to be in a monastery or go in the forest or do the meditation. This is no. Actually, Buddhism is the art of living your life.
Buddhism is talking about reality. Reality means we are impermanent. We are going to die. We are all going to get separated. These are the realities, unavoidable realities. So when those situations happen in your life, sufferings, problem, illness, death of family members, how are you going to cope with that? You see? And the purpose of knowing the reality is, much of our suffering is because of ignorance. So just to remove this ignorance related to your body, related to your mind, it's important to get that knowledge from every quarter.
It's a path of happiness, as the Buddha himself said. I mean, it's for overcoming suffering, it's not for creating suffering.
For many of us, life becomes a never-ending checklist. Events become tick marks. Days, months fly by. We are forever running in a frenzy to grasp the future. What's next? Here, in McLeodganj, a profound sense of peace and serenity flows under the rush of humanity. The red and ochre robes, the monasteries and temples, the valleys and mysterious mountains. Perhaps in this simplicity, there are spiritual answers to a life of fully realized existence.
The modern way of life really reminds me the encounter of Angulimala with Buddha. You must have heard that story. Angulimala, very famous, kind of dacoit, who had made a wrong teacher, who had asked him to, kill 1,000 people and cut their finger and make a rosary. And if you are able to, kill 1,000 people, then you will achieve certain siddhi, certain realization. So he already killed 999 people. And he was looking for the last one. And it said that on that day the Buddha realized that now this is the time to, tame this person. So finally Buddha appeared. Angulimala was very happy. Now this is the last person I have to kill. So he started chasing the Buddha. Buddha was walking slowly. And he was running like the modern man. Right? But he was not able to catch Buddha. Then he said, "Stop who you are. Are you not afraid of this dreadful Angulimala?" Then the Buddha stopped and looked back and smiled, and he said, "It's not me who is not stopping. It is you who is not stopping." And then he stood there. And then Angulimala was really speechless. For the first time he saw a person who has no sign of fear, so calm, so peaceful. Then he started asking questions. Then the Buddha started answering, giving advice, and then fell down his feet, and he became transformed. So we are really a little bit like Angulimala. running, and doing many stupid things. You see. And then the main problem is people just go outside, Udhar kya mila, outside things. And inside you are hollow. So that's why meditation, in Buddhism we talk so much about meditation. Be with oneself. If you are not with yourself, how can you be with others?
This is why mindfulness has taken off. What is mindfulness? It means being attentive to what's happening in the moment, right? That's all. Just how to pay attention to what we are doing while we are doing it without commentary. And this is an enormous relief for the mind. And it also helps us to become so much more aware of what is actually going on inside us and outside us. And so if people really learn how to be more aware and more conscious, an inner joy naturally arises, and a sense of being present, which is the only time we have anyway. We like to be distracted, and to actually pay attention needs, that we put some effort into it. But beyond that, if you say, be aware, we can all just be aware. So it's a very, very helpful and important technique which doesn't require any great training. It just requires that we remember to remember. Yeah?
That's Tenzin Palmo, a major feminist force in Tibetan Buddhism. She was an ordinary British librarian who was unfulfilled by the London lifestyle. She took a permanent break and found her calling in northern India. From meditating in an ice cave for 12 years in the Himalayas, surviving brutal temperatures of minus 30 degrees Fahrenheit, to founding her very own nunnery, Tenzin Palmo was conferred the rare title of Jetsunma, or Venerable Master, for her spiritual achievements and her efforts in promoting female empowerment. She hasn't looked back.
Learning we can get from everywhere. We go to school, we go to university, we manage to learn so many things. Whether it's science or technology or spirituality, you can learn. But then after learning all this, what are you going to do? Unless you are able to use it for the well-being, peace, harmony and happiness of others, then your knowledge just making money.
Geshe Lakhdor emphasizes how we should also be mindful about learning. Lakhdor is the world's leading expert on learning. To attain the title of a Geshe, he had to study Buddhism for more than 40 years, serving a myriad of roles while doing so. The translator and religious assistant to His Holiness Dalai Lama since 1989, an honorary professor at Emory University and the University of British Columbia, and recently the director of the Tibetan Library and Archive. His perspective on knowledge reflects the very heart of Buddhism that traces all the way back to the day Siddhartha Gautama became the Buddha. Legend says that the very earth trembled as Siddhartha Gautama debated whether to remain in nirvana, removed from the suffering of life, or to share his knowledge of enlightenment. In the end, the great Buddha heart of infinite compassion prevailed. Siddhartha rejected ultimate release, choosing to remain among people to help them, becoming the Buddha.
We have this habit of getting easily attracted by the sensual objects. Your eye wants to see something, ear wants to hear something, body wants to touch something, nose wants to smell something, tongue wants to taste something. These are our weakness. All these big malls, they came up because of our needs. One floor, restaurant, eating. Another floor, CDs, DVDs, listening. Another floor, TV, to see, phone. Another floor, clothes. Exactly what we need. And we become victim to that, you see. And what Buddha was saying is, your boss is not your senses, but your mind. So if you don't train the mind and let yourself carried by the dictates of the senses, you will get all the problem. Because what the senses need is the material objects. Material objects have limitation. The material external resources, water, forest, whatever, they have limitation. So how can you make unlimited progress from limited resources? We need money, we need facilities, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is your integrity, your inner value, your inner sense of serenity, composure, to be surrounded by loving people, compassionate people, to have your mind, undisturbed. If you have that, even if the whole world is topsy-turvy, you will still be happy. The problem with the world today is my peace and happiness is very much dependent on external situations and events. Now imagine if you make yourself vulnerable to the fluctuating situations and events, you will be tossed around. You will never get peace and happiness. But what is taught in Buddhism is, even if the situation is really difficult, we do experience such difficulties. But even at that time, make sure that you don't get disturbed. If you know the reality, then there's no reason to get disturbed, you see. And people who don't know the reality, then they get disturbed.
Out of ignorance, we project a sense of permanence onto impermanent conditions. Many of us share this mindset, and since life is in constant flux, we are always going to be disappointed by change, destruction, and loss.
Buddhism isn't just about, being a monk or meditating. It's about many qualities of the heart, learning how to be kind, how to develop loving kindness and compassion and generosity and honesty, and how to use problems which come in our life, either from other people or from circumstances, by our response to turn them into our spiritual practice. This is very helpful for people to recognize that it's not what happens to us which is the problem. How we respond, skillfully or unskillfully, is the problem.
For Buddhists, the most important thing that we can control and that we should control is our mind. After all, if I can change the way I view things, I have changed the world. Everything is a matter of attitude. We should be able to be happy under any condition. This mindset reflects the emphasis Tibetan Buddhism has on reason and logic, which is a central pillar of its philosophy.
Here, especially, we study the Buddhist philosophy, and Buddhist philosophy based on the logic.
One of the points in Buddhism is always, you can come and you can ask questions, you can have doubts. We're here for you, we're not afraid of questions. You should ask questions. And it's not just based on faith, it's very much more based on actual direct experience.
Don't just believe in something because it is said by somebody. Even the Buddha, he himself said that those who follow me should examine my teaching, just like a goldsmith judges the gold by cutting, rubbing and putting under the fire. Similarly, judge my teaching and do not accept it because you respect me. So the challenge, he was confident of his teaching, you see. So therefore you should always doubt, always be skeptical. If you always ask question. If you ask question, you will get answer. And don't simply follow because your teacher said, this is God, this is Buddha. So close your eye and believe it. Most of us do that. That will not help you. Right? So caution and find the truth for yourself.
The Tibetan culture, actually ancient Indian culture, we simply kept over 1,000 years.
Yeah.
All these culture come from India, particularly Nalanda tradition.
That's
So here, fuller knowledge about our emotion and how to tackle our emotion. That the way to tackle also use reason, not faith.
His Holiness Dalai Lama's latest undertaking is in reviving the Nalanda tradition, ancient Indian knowledge from the world's first university, Nalanda University, a center of Buddhist learning steeped in reason and logic that His Holiness Dalai Lama considers very relevant today.
Some scientists now already started to implement some of these ancient Indian knowledge.
So that's why His Holiness the Dalai Lama is now working very hard to introduce, secular ethics, or social, ethical, emotional learning.
So we must start the subject about emotion, about how to tackle emotion. These should be part of our education field. The subject of hygiene of physical there. So now similarly, hygiene of emotion should include not talking next life or nirvana or these things, simply how to build happy individual and create happy family, eventually happy community, and finally happy world. Not through prayer. I'm a sort of Buddhist monk, a Buddhist practitioner. Of course, my daily practice, prayer also there. But I'm very, very skeptical. Through prayer to bring peaceful world, impossible. Only through education.
The Buddha calls on us to adopt a way of life, to be our own Socrates, to be mindful of the life we are living now, to take a break from all the distractions of our bustling lives and reflect, really question if our modern consumerist lifestyle will lead to happiness. Perhaps, if we spend more time looking inward than outward, many more of our problems will be solved.